Hi there! I was at the movies watching Slumdog Millionaire. This is a few years back. There was a scene of a boy running who fell into a giant cesspool of liquid poop. The audience burst out laughing, yet this reflects a terrible reality. In the bordering countries of India and Nepal, 80% of the people are of the Hindu religion. Now, for Hindus, the Vedas are the main religious texts. The Rig Veda's Purusha Sukta contains a creation account. From God, four social classes supposedly arose. From his mouth came the highest class, from his arms another class, from his thighs another, and from his feet the lowest servile class. From this lowest class, some worked the dirtiest jobs, spawning a fifth class, untouchables or Dalits. Yet only one Vedic passage mentions the caste system. Many deny this passage's authenticity, and untouchables aren't even mentioned there. People pick what they want from religious texts, twist them, and ignore the rest. Therefore, certain scriptures become medieval maces in their abusers' hands. Certainly, religious texts are mostly pleasant and harmless. That's the wielder's handle. Victims are bashed with their far ends. Many deny that India and Nepal still have so-called untouchables, which denials are monstrous lies. Others claim that untouchables are gladly fulfilling their karma to achieve a better afterlife, another monstrous lie. Due to lack of plumbing and adequate sewage systems, people relieve themselves in so-called dry toilets, which are merely cement enclosures. Others publicly relieve themselves in spots that drain into crude sewers. Hinduism's caste system regulates Dalits, formerly so-called untouchables, to either clean the waste or starve to death. Emptying dry toilets is called manual scavenging. Adequate equipment is unavailable, so workers, usually women, use brooms and scrapers to gather waste into baskets and must carry these oozing baskets many kilometers to dumping grounds. Pay is terrible. Workers make just enough to survive. They cannot afford gloves or other protective gear, let alone transportation. Therefore, workers perpetually stink of human waste. Washing cannot kill the stench since it's renewed every day. Many have infected boils from the contagion, others are blinded by it. Sewage workers, usually men, also lack basic protective gear. They sometimes stand waist high in raw sewage which clings to their body while clearing jams with wooden sticks. Workers also encounter dead rotting animals. Broken bottles lurk in the blackened mire, tearing workers' flesh. Other sewage workers are lowered by rope into narrow holes to clear blockages. Oftentimes, workers are crippled by accidents or die from suffocation or exposure to toxic gas. Safety measures are advocated but rarely implemented. First aid is non-existent. 80% of manual scavengers and sewer workers die prematurely from work-related health problems. There is no health insurance, social security, or enough money to save up anything. These jobs being officially illegal does little. 1 million people still endure these worst jobs. Many are outright slaves. The so-called God-ordained caste system also forces workers' children, grandchildren, and every subsequent generation into those same lives. If pious people ignore this problem, their religion is excrement. If non-religious people ignore this problem, their humanism is excrement. To qualify as human, we must address iniquity. Instead, we are selfish crybabies who complain if somebody doesn't flush our toilet after urinating just once. Even some successful Indians who identify as Christians hypocritically flee India for America instead of staying to help their own people. But since the phenomenon of the untouchable caste is only a small fraction of Hinduism, this can be eliminated. Therefore, here are some considerations. There's no proof that people are reincarnated into a low state as punishment for misdeeds in a past life. Those from other religions have strong lines of reasoning against it. And if reincarnation is true, maybe you'll come back as a dung beetle for tolerating abuse of so-called Dalits. If you have relatives who live in India or Nepal, make sure they know about this terrible blight so they can campaign against it. Or competent Indian workers could be sent to create adequate plumbing and sewage systems and teach their people to maintain these systems. Regardless, it's the Hindu people's own responsibility to help their own, as they know the language and culture, and it's their own blood. Us whites cannot help everybody. For American whites hell-bent on aiding the world, aid very carefully. If you give money, that money can be stolen by corrupt governments. Even if money helps starving people become healthy, they'll likely reproduce and create even more starving people. So focus on the quality of life instead of its quantity. For example, consider shipping massive quantities of rubber gloves, gas masks, and other protective gear to those who work with human waste. And it's ironic that people demonized National Socialist Germany with their chief symbol, the swastika, as bigoted, since the party wanted to eliminate class distinction within the race. Yet Hindus, who also incorporate the swastika, one of its meanings being the common good, currently embody class division. Also, dividing the dirty work among various classes is no solution, or at least it's not a full solution. Now, animal waste is often relatively harmless and could even be beneficial, such as cow manure. And coming into contact with your own fresh waste is harmless since you cannot catch a disease from yourself that you don't already have. Yet human waste from others is extremely hazardous due to foreign chemical makeups and types of bacteria. Therefore, everyone needs to clean their own shit. If nobody intends to cooperate, perhaps the oppressed should revolt against their oppressors and threaten them with annihilation unless they eradicate their terrible cruelty. Under coercion, radical changes could occur. Again, if you don't care about your own people, your value as a human being has been flushed down the toilet. So always keep others in mind. And always keep in mind that your shit stinks like everyone else's. Regardless of what, pray for all those who are considered untouchables of any type, that justice may be served. Take care.